Hi Pisces, hope you guys are doing really, really well. My name is Brian. I am your queer psychic bestie, and I have a reading for you guys today. This is going to be a mid-month check-in for the sign of Pisces. So, if you have Pisces anywhere in your chart, maybe you vibe with Pisces, you could be a cross watcher, whatever the case may be, this reading may resonate for you. As always, this is the internet. Take what resonates and leave what does not. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you could do that through email or form submission on my website. Pisces, this is a mid-month check-in, so there is no set spread that we are doing. Normally in the monthlies, I do like the Celtic Cross, so sometimes I think you guys are used to seeing like more of like a set spread. This is like free-flowing sort of spread. I take 6 cards across, we clarify them in twos, and it just gives your guides the opportunity to really talk about like whatever they want to talk about. It's a little bit more open-ended. It's more of a conversation instead of a question. So without further ado, let's get into it, Pisces. Bottom of the deck is your challenge. Represents what you're not seeing, what you're not looking at. We've got the Eight of Wands, the Hanged Man, and Death. Okay. Lovers is there too. Interesting. Pisces, for a lot of you guys, your challenge for the mid-month is, the way I'm hearing this is like letting go of who you thought you were. This is a really interesting topic to talk about, Pisces. I'm excited. We don't talk about this very often. You know, when we're talking about the death card, we do talk about, you know, it is death and rebirth. It is the death of the ego and a rebirth of exactly what my guides just said to me, who we think we are. That's my cat. Don't worry about him. He's going to be coming in and out of frame. But with the death, the Hanged Man, and the Eight of Wands, I think what is so exciting about this, Pisces, is that you are taking back power. There's autonomy here, right? When we decide, I want to change who I am. When we decide we want to switch ourselves up or we want to do something different, there's an excitement there. You know, it's making choices for yourself, and it's getting to choose what the next version of you looks like. You know, where do you go from here? What's on the agenda for you? And so this is really exciting with that Hanged Man. I do feel like you guys have sat on this for a little while, is what I'm hearing. Like, I think some of you guys have... I just heard mourning. Maybe you've been in mourning for, like, the person that you thought you were going to become, and it's like friction between who you thought you wanted to be and who you actually are. And so now when that friction like connects with one another, it creates almost like, the way my guides are showing this to me is like when you rub rocks together. What is that called? I don't know what it's called, but like flint, I almost want to say. I could be so wrong. Sparks. It's creating like sparks for you because you're like, wait, this is who I became, not necessarily who I set out to be, and this is who I do want to be. So now there's like this like friction going on. So let's get into it. You start with the Temperance and the Queen of Pentacles. So what I think is really interesting here, Pisces, is that the Queen of Pentacles is a mom card. So you could be a mother, or we could be talking about a mother wound. But with the Temperance card here as well, I think a lot of you guys are coming into balance with yourself. Temperance does talk about patience, but I feel this more so of like a balance energy as opposed to patience. And with that Queen of Pentacles, I don't think we're actually talking about the mother specifically today. I feel like we're talking about the balance of you within yourself and how that was sort of like predetermined by the mother, is how I'm hearing it. Okay, thank you. My guides are giving me, you were raised to fit a mold. Like, there's a very particular, like, they keep going like this to me, which I think is really funny. It's like, if you're baking, like, you know, there's a mold, and then you pour the stuff into the mold, and then that gives you the thing that you want. It's like, I feel like some of you had parents that were very much like this. You know, I'm going to pour you into this mold, and I want you to come out looking like this. I'm hearing predetermined versus destiny. Like, because this is almost giving, like, your family wanted you to be a very specific way, but you were destined to not be that way. This is an interesting reading, Pisces. The Empress, so definitely mom. Mom is a big player here for a lot of you guys. And keep in mind, when we talk about the mother wound, disclaimer, we are not always specifically talking about a mother. Some of us have one mom, two mom. You may not have been raised with a mom at all, you know? So keep that, when we talk about the mother wound, we're talking about the caregiver, the nurturer, the more feminine energy, okay? I've got the Empress, the Five of Pentacles, and Justice. Okay. Oh, I keep hearing you stole it from me. I think a lot of you guys, the mourning that came through earlier, the mourning you've been doing is almost like the mourning of a life you could have had you followed your authenticity from the beginning. I think for a lot of you guys here, there is a mother that was very, or a feminine energy that was very controlling, very domineering. And so it created this world for you where you could only be a specific way or act under specific circumstances and specific guises. And so it feels like now with that Five of Pentacles, we have an abandonment wound coming to play, because with Justice, it's very much, again, yeah, justice is karma. It's like, I could have been different. You know, I think for the first time, Pisces, a lot of you guys are, again, like I said in the beginning, there's autonomy here. It's like you're taking your life back into your own hands and deciding, like, wait, I don't have to be like this. I can change. I don't have to interact with the world in this way. I am allowed something different. And I think that's really beautiful here, Pisces. What else can you tell me about this? Yeah, Queen of Cups, Knight of Cups. I think a lot of you are learning to love yourself again. It's hard to love ourselves when we aren't being authentic, right? I think for a lot of you guys here, you're recognizing that when we are embodying an energy that is not authentically our own, it's very hard to then not only relate to that energy, but keep it up. You know, I think back to like 6th, 7th, even 8th grade. Like I partially came out in the 8th grade, but years when I knew that something was different but never owned it, it's so difficult to keep up with that persona, keep up with that mask that you're wearing. And so it feels like for a lot of you guys here, you're recognizing that now you're taking the mask off, right? I think a lot of you guys wore that mask as a tool for survival for a very long time. And now I think coming out of this like very dreary period where you're not thriving, you're just surviving, you're coming out sort of like with this new fire. You're like, maybe you're literally coming out, I don't know. But you're like, okay, I'm going. Like, I'm not, I just heard really loud, I'm not settling for less anymore. You know, I'm embodying who I am, my own personal power, because when you boil it down, our personal power, our superpower, however you want to say it, is completely reliant on how authentic are you. What's your authentic expression? Are you showing up as an authentic version of you? Are you showing up as the real you? Because if you're not, it then, like I said in the beginning, it creates that friction and those sparks of like who I want to be versus who I am currently. And I think that's what a lot of you guys have going on here. Wheel of Fortune, bottom of the deck. So this is very divinely timed. I mean, you have death again. Death and rebirth again, babe. Let me get the other one. Put it side by side for you. Oh, was death in the challenge? Oopsies. He was in the challenge. I'm like ripping the cards apart on my desk. Like, where is death? It's right there. Some of you could have Scorpio in your chart. Death is the card of Scorpio. But like I said, this is really... Pisces, I feel like you're at a very strong pivot moment for yourself right now where you've been going this way and now you're like, wait, I have to go this way instead. And And it really is just, there is something really beautiful here about like literally coming out of a chrysalis, I almost want to say. I feel like some of you guys feel like it's been really slow recently. Like things have slowed down a lot and it feels like almost like you're moving in slow motion, but it's because you've been in the chrysalis. You've been healing and your insides have been turning to goo so that you can reform into the butterfly or the moth, you know, whichever we identify with more. And it feels like a lot of you guys are now, there needs to be more kindness here towards this period in your life, more understanding of like when we're in the chrysalis, we quite literally can't move. You know, obviously we are human beings, so we don't go through the chrysalis and our whole insides don't turn to goo, but I can't imagine that's comfortable. I can't imagine your insides turning to soup is a lot of fun. But those animals, those insects, when they are in the chrysalis, they allow it. They're like, you know what? Period. This is where I'm at. We're just going to let it rock. I think for a lot of you guys here, you have to allow yourself to let it rock. You are in the chrysalis, you turn to goo, and now you're coming out of the chrysalis. So give yourself some grace, some kindness, extend some empathy to yourself here, and then leave the chrysalis, okay? You've got the King of Swords and the Eight of Cups. I think Pisces, sometimes, as a Pisces, I understand this. Sometimes Pisces struggle with boundaries, but they also struggle with holding people accountable. This is what this feels like to me. As you are emerging from your chrysalis with your newfound wings and your newfound body and your newfound sense of excitement for the world, there is going to be some decisions that have to happen here. We're going to have to pass some judgments, right? King of Swords is decisive. It's decisive action, but it's also strong decisive action. It's like unwavering is a good word for the King of Swords. That's where I feel like you guys are. You know, as soon as you come out of this chrysalis, there are, yeah, Two of Cups. There are things that are going to have to go, Pisces. Eight of Wands. It's tough talks. You know, that's really what this feels like to me. The Emperor in reverse. This is rough, Pisces. Some of you have someone, the Emperor, Divine Masculine. I could be reading for the feminine right now. You have a Divine Masculine that I feel like you're not necessarily seeing eye to eye with right now. The Emperor, it's in the reverse here, you know. So with that Two of Cups and the Eight of Wands. Oh, interesting how I just heard that. Well, I did it. Why haven't you? That might be the conversation that's coming to you, Pisces. You know, if you went through the chrysalis, you went through the uncomfortability, turned to goo, and came out on the other side, and you have a partner or a friend, a father, whoever this is for you, that didn't. Do you want that person around? Is it worth it? You know, because the way my guides are also giving this to me is like, how many more, like, one day are you going to feed yourself? You know, at what point do we show some kindness to ourselves, have a stronger boundary, and recognize we're not working for one another anymore? I don't see this going anywhere in the long term. Because keep in mind, that does not have to be romantic only. That can be friendships. You know, I've had many of friendships that have fallen apart simply because I said we're going two different directions. My views have changed, yours have not. And that's just how it is, you know? And I feel like that's where you guys are as well. Yeah, you have the Moon and the King of Pentacles here. You may be dealing with someone, as you're going through all this emotional upheaval and turmoil, you may be dealing with someone that is very 3D with the King of Pentacles. Maybe they're a little bit too dense. The King of Pentacles is the least, how do I say this? My guides want me to say it how I would normally say it. I find him to be one of the least whimsical kings. Okay, when we're dealing with the King of Pentacles, this is someone who's overly concerned with the money, the house, the world. Like, it's all about what's in the 3D, like right in front of us that we can like pick up and grab and affect. Whereas like Pisces, you tend to be a little bit more of a dreamier, a little bit more of an empathetic, a little bit more emotional sign. And I feel like sometimes with that King of Pentacles can be really grounding, but in this regard with the moon here, I feel like some of you are not viewing this person as grounding. It's almost like you're viewing them as stubborn. You're viewing them as a little bit more stuck, a little bit less in tune than you are. And I feel like that's kind of where this road is leading you as well. You're kind of looking at it like, okay, well, what are we going to do? You know, like, are you going to change? Are you going to have a growth spurt? You know, of course there's growing pains, but in order to have growing pains, you got to grow first, babe. Yeah, 9 of Cups. Like, I think a lot of you guys are weighing up how happy am I right now versus how happy am I hoping to be one day, right? Because if my happiness is sitting at a 3 out of 10, but I'm hoping for that 10 out of 10, I have to be realistic with myself. When's it can happen? How much time, energy, effort are you willing to put into something that's sitting at a 3 all the way down here that you want at a 10 all the way up here? I think a lot of you guys are going to be looking at, well, how much have I already sank into this? You know, how much energy, time, money, love, compassion versus what have I gotten out of it? You know, and keep in mind, I can't overstate this enough for you guys. This does not have to be romantic, okay? I am getting multiple energies for you guys, so it's like, I don't want everyone to be like, oh, I don't have a partner, though. Who are you talking about? This can literally be anyone and anything. It does feel like more so on the level of a person for me, but it does feel like, I think a lot of you guys are just kind of over, like, the dreaminess phase is what I want to say here. Like, rose-colored goggles have gone out the window, you know, like I said, maybe you went into the chrysalis with rose-colored goggles and you came out. Now, you know, butterflies, moths, they have these like big compound eyes, and it's like you came out of the chrysalis with your new compound eyes and you're like, oh wait, what's going on here? Because even your last 2 cards are the 10 of Wands in the reverse and the 3 of Wands. 10 of Wands in reverse is the release of a heavy burden. And the 3 of Wands is a step that needs to be taken. Do you see what I mean? So it feels like, for me, Pisces, we're talking about a larger theme here as you shed who you were, like I said in the challenge here, and you are choosing who you want to become. Is who you want to become someone that doesn't make moves? Is the version of who you want to be someone who doesn't stand up for themselves? Doesn't make the right choice? I hate saying that, right choice versus wrong choice. I don't believe in right versus wrong choice. Makes the choice that is for their highest good in that moment. You know, that's sort of where I feel like this road is leading you to. I think how the rest of your month plays out is going to be very determined by you, Pisces. It's going to be very determined with, like, am I settling? What kind of behaviors am I seeing? What's going on? You know, 7 of Cups, 10 of Wands, 4 of Wands. Like, am I more committed to drama and messiness and just overall tomfoolery? Or am I more committed to my own growth? Am I going to wait for someone else to grow so that I can also grow? Am I going to put my life on hold for other people, places, things? That's what this is. The culmination of all your efforts of literally boiling your insides to goo and coming out on the other side culminate to, am I going to put my life on hold? The way my guides just said this to me is like, am I going to stop making choices that are more comfortable for other people? Ace of Pentacles, Page of Swords. I think a lot of you guys this month is really showcasing to you, Pisces, what do you want to invest in? What do you want to give your time, energy, effort, money, emotion to? And is it going to grow? Ace of Pentacles is like slow and steady wins the race. It is a card of a divine gift. So it is the universe sort of bringing something to you. But oftentimes it takes time. This is like you invested in yourself at the age of 20 and at 30, that investment pays off. You know, with that Page of Swords as well, I think a lot of you guys this month is highlighting really in a very profound way. And also I'm hearing in a very obvious way for you. What's next? I finished the chrysalis. I've done the work. I'm having the ego death. What's next? You know, I really do feel like Page of Swords is like looking outside of ourselves. You know, it's a message. It's being curious. It's a very strong curiosity card. So I think a lot of you guys are really leaving your chrysalis being like, well, quite frankly, what else is out there? I just heard really loud, your goal here is to not pigeonhole yourself. To pigeonhole something is like putting a square peg in a round hole and then it gets stuck. It's like a really narrow, I have to like shove something in here, sort of. That's what pigeonhole means. Wheel of Fortune in the reverse and the worlds. Some of you may have a physical move coming up, physical relocation. But with the Wheel of Fortune and the worlds, some of you have also been putting this off. Interesting. Give me one more for that. King of Wands. Maybe some of you are waiting for someone else to shape up so that you can both ship out. Is it worth it, Pisces? This is what you have to ask yourself. I can't tell you what to do here, babe. The cards can't tell you what to do here. It's your life. You're living in it. I'm tapping into it. I'm psychically peeking around, but I'm not ultimately living it. Okay? You have to decide. Is the thing, person, place, whatever you are waiting on right now to make that move, to be the version of yourself that you want to be, is it worth the wait? I can't tell you. That's for you to decide, babe. What I can tell you is that you need to believe actions over words. Are the people around you making efforts to change? Are they putting in work to change? Or are you getting yes-manned to death? You know, a lot of you guys need to ask yourself, the way my guides are saying this to me is like, the new version of you, who are they? You know, I have found in my career and in my life as just a very social person, a bit of a social butterfly, one might say. A lot of times we can find ourselves falling into the trap of seeing someone else doing something we want to do and then being like, wow, one day, I really hope one day I'm just like them. I'm here to remind you, You are already that version of yourself. That version of you that wants to be like that person, you're already doing it. You're already there. You just have to embrace it. You can, the example I'll give you is like, I used to look at, I apprenticed when I was a hairdresser. I apprenticed under another hairdresser. I was an assistant at the time, and I would always find myself saying, wow, I want to be just like her. I want to have consults just like her. I want to do hair just like her. And there came a time where I was like, wait, I'm already capable of that. I'm already that version of myself. So I have to act like it. Okay? This version of you, this new version of you, they already exist. They're already there. You have to embrace it. You have to embody it, okay? Let's get you an oracle card. As always, we are using the Angelarium. This is my favorite oracle deck to date. I always use it. Reads us to filth. What do you have for Pisces for the mid-month, please? Just an all-around fantastic deck. The artwork is stunning. Just everything about it is great. Oh my goodness, my voice is going. That's bad. The day just started. Okay. You guys have... excuse me, let me take a drink. Okay. You have Pura, Angel of Forgetting. This is a good one. This makes sense. Pura. It's number 63 for those of us into numerology. Okay. There is more than one way to move past pain. Suppressing traumatic experiences may be the best option in the short term, but it is important to look upon that desire to forget with skepticism. Our history is part of what defines who we are. To lose too much of our past is to let go of our identity. The past teaches us, Pisces. We have to... I heard a reader say this once, and it so profoundly changed the way that I look at things and think about things. I'm going to say it to you guys, too. If you were to go back in time and stop yourself from all the mistakes that you viewed that happen, or all the experiences that happened to you, you yourself would cease to exist. Think about that. If I went back in time and I changed every uncomfortable, unfortunate event that happened to me up until now, the Brian sitting here in front of you would cease to exist. The same thing goes for you, Pisces. Okay? Pisces, that is your mid-month check-in. That is what I have for you guys today. This reading was honestly really great. A great way to start off the readings. Oh, I love that. Pisces, if this reading resonates with you, or my reading style happens to resonate with you, I would really appreciate if you considered liking and subscribing. We are on the road to 200 subscribers, which is so exciting. If you guys would like to interact with me on a live basis, I do go live 3 days a week on Twitch. You can find me Wednesday and Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. EST, as well as Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m. EST. Saturday was rescheduled to today. This video is going to be posted on Sunday. I will be live today on Twitch as well, Sunday 4 to 6. There's also a Discord community that you can join. That's where all the updates about my streaming schedule is posted on the Discord. So if you would like to join that, leave a comment on this video, pop into the stream on Twitch. One of the mods is always posting the link to the Discord, okay? Pisces, that's what I have for you. I hope to see you over on Twitch, and I will catch you guys in the next video.